Tariffs, export restrictions, and investment barriers have now become the sharpened instruments of geopolitical rivalry. This is no passing storm. It is a new weather of our time.
That was Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's opening speech at the ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting in Kuala Lumpur this July. He warned that tools like tariffs and bans are increasingly weaponized against weaker countries. Why this warning now? Because protectionism, when countries put up barriers to shield their own industries, is back in the headlines. And for a small open economy like Malaysia, the ripple effects are impossible to ignore. Take the US-China trade war. Washington slapped sweeping tariffs on Chinese goods and tightened non-tariff rules. The goal? To protect American jobs and counter Beijing's influence. But the fallout didn't stay in Washington or Beijing. Estimates show US consumers themselves paid an extra $70 billion in a single year. And the ripple effects reach countries like Malaysia, disrupting supply chains and raising costs for producers and consumers alike. Usually, smaller economies have a referee, the World Trade Organization. Since 1995, it's acted as the arbiter of global trade, offering rules and a neutral process to resolve disputes. But that system is now in crisis, as a failure to reach consensus on appointing new members has left the appellate body without enough quorum to hear cases. With too few judges left, the court can't hear appeals. That means countries can now appeal into the void, sending disputes to a non-functioning court which stalls rulings indefinitely. For smaller economies like Malaysia, this is dangerous. Big powers can fall back on political influence or retaliation. Malaysia can't. It relies on rules. So what is Malaysia doing to avoid becoming a victim of this protectionist wave? First, it's drawing red lines in trade talks. In July, Investment, Trade and Industry Minister Tengku Zafrul Aziz stressed Malaysia would not compromise on halal standards, government procurement, and the right to impose a digital tax on a non-discriminatory basis. Second, it's pushing for stronger regional cooperation.
And as we navigate external pressures, we need to fortify our internal foundations, trade among ourselves, invest more in one another, and advance integration across sectors with resolve.
Third, it's diversifying and expanding ties with emerging markets and BRICS nations to spread risk and boost resilience. Back at home, Malaysia is investing in high-value sectors like digital services and renewable energy, upgrading infrastructure such as an AI-driven port in Port Dickson, and cutting interest rates to support demand. Part of Malaysia's strategy is strengthening small and medium-sized enterprises. Laura Lachia, president of the Malaysia Association of Sustainable Supply Chain and Innovation, says the instinct to pull back in tough times can actually hold businesses back.
When things get tough, it's instinctive that you try to shrink your area of influence, or at least the areas that you operate in. So if you just say, okay, times are difficult, let's expand, that's counterintuitive. I think SMEs need to consciously make that decision that they want to go beyond that and just start. Start small, but start, you know?
There's also a call to rethink Malaysia's reliance on foreign investors. Sufian Juso, a trade expert at University Kebangsaan Malaysia, argues that foreign capital can only go so far.
The biggest misconception is that FDI is the magic wand, that it can solve everything. No, it doesn't. You need FDI as a catalyst. You have to move also your domestic investment.
In short, Malaysia knows it cannot control the winds of global protectionism, but it can set its sails. By defending its red lines, deepening regional ties, and investing in resilience, Malaysia is working not just to survive the storm, but to emerge stronger in its aftermath.
The multilateral system cannot endure if its principles are upheld only when convenient. ASEAN must be among those who choose to stand for rules, even when others choose to retreat.
Danish Raja Reza, FMT.